Welcome back to Wyckmoore.
The Mystical Realm of Wyckmoore, Part 5. The Bargain of Shadows. The cavern seemed to hold its breath. Rowan stepped forward until her boots touched the edge of the siren's blackwater pool. "Tell me how to help," she said. The siren's voice was like the low hum of a seashell pressed to your ear. "You must take the shard into your heart. If your will is stronger than the nightmares inside, they will not escape. But if you falter, they will feast." Wimble muttered, "Oh, that's comforting." Leora landed beside Rowan, her wings trembling but her chin held high. "We'll hold her steady. Nightmares feed on fear and we can guard against that." Serenia's staff began to glow, casting a warm golden light across the dark walls. "Then we start now." The siren rose from the water, each movement smooth as moonlight sliding over a wave. From her hands she drew the shard, a jagged piece of crystal that seemed to hold swirling clouds inside. It pulsed with a heartbeat that wasn't Rowan's, yet. The moment Rowan took it, cold lanced through her chest. A flood of voices screamed in her mind, whispering, taunting, laughing. She saw visions of storms, of being lost, of her friends turning away from her. "No," Rowan growled, clutching the shard tighter. "These aren't real." The shadows around them writhed, trying to take shape, a claw here, a tooth there. But the glow from Serenia's staff pushed them back. Leora's wings flared, scattering motes of light into the air. Wimble threw a fish at them, actually sizzled. Rowan forced her mind to a single image, the safe, starry meadow where they had first camped together. She focused on her friend's laughter, the warmth of the fire, the calm of knowing she wasn't alone. The shard's pulse slowed. The voices dimmed. The shadows hissed, and then retreated. When Rowan opened her eyes, the siren was smiling. "You've done it. The nightmares are bound to you now, but so am I. My song will keep them asleep." With that, the siren slipped from the pool, her form shifting until she was a tall, silver-haired woman wrapped in flowing sea silk. "Let's see this journey through together." Outside, the tide had risen and a strange, glowing mist swirled over the water. It smelled faintly of wildflowers and rain. Somewhere beyond it lay the next shard, and perhaps the greatest danger yet. The Mistway Isles. The boat skimmed silently through a sea of silver. The mist was so thick it clung to their skin, tasting faintly sweet like honey tea. "Pulse. Odd," Wimble said, waving a hand through the fog. "Like the air's thicker than it should be." "It is," the siren replied, her voice now richer, more human but still carrying that hidden current. "The Mistway Isles exist between waking and dreaming. The longer we stay, the less certain we'll be of which is which." "Perfect," Leora muttered, scanning the shifting shadows in the fog. As they drifted closer to the first isle, shapes began to appear, towers made of seashells, archways of coral, trees with leaves of glass that chimed in the soft breeze. Everything shimmered as if painted on water. But then Rowan noticed something unsettling. Each sound, each sight, each smell carried a tug, a little pull at her thoughts. She saw her old village's gate beyond the coral arch. She smelled her mother's baking. She heard her father's voice calling her name. "They're dreams," Serenia warned sharply. "Don't follow them." The ground of the first isle felt springy under their feet, like walking on a giant quilt. Strange birds with candle-flame eyes watched them from glass branches. Every few steps, the path forked, not left and right but into completely different scenes. A snowy street. A sunlit meadow. A starry desert. "Which way?" Rowan asked. The siren crouched, running her fingers over the quilted ground. "The shard is here, but the isles will try to hide it behind your deepest wishes. Choose wrong and we could wander forever. A whisper curled into Rowan's ear. You could go home. You could see them again. She squeezed her fists. No. I'm not here for that. I'm here for all of us. Just as the path ahead seemed ready to dissolve, something moved through the mist, tall, cloaked, and carrying a lantern that glowed with a light too warm for this place. The figure stopped. You don't belong here, it said, its voice deep and echoing. But if you mean to take the shard, you'll have to take it from me. The Lantern Keeper. The Lantern Keeper's cloak rippled like smoke, and when he lifted the lantern higher, the mist seemed to pull away from him, revealing flashes of impossible places. A roaring waterfall spilling upward, a library where the books turned their own pages, a moon resting in a cradle of clouds. I keep the dreams in their place, the keeper said, the light in his lantern flickering. But some dreams are too dangerous to set free. The shard you seek is one of them. Wimble tilted his head. Dangerous how? The keeper's eyes glowed faintly beneath his hood. It can turn dreams into reality, but also reality into dreams. If you take it without care, you may not wake again. Before Rowan could answer, the mist surged, twisting into a swirling tunnel around them. The ground tilted, then shifted beneath their feet. Suddenly they were standing in a place that felt half-remembered to each of them. For Rowan, it was her village square, the sound of laughter in the distance. For Wimble, it was a golden orchard that smelled of spiced pears. For the siren, it was an endless horizon of moonlit waves. The keeper's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Only one of these paths will lead you to the shard. Choose by heart, or be lost to the isles. The scenes began to blur, melt, and shift again. Rowan saw the square fade into a starry field. Wimble's orchard became an endless banquet table. The siren's ocean became a crystal hallway. And then the lantern flared. The keeper stepped forward, holding out his free hand. If you trust me, he said, give me the map you carry, and I will guide you through. Rowan's hand tightened on her satchel. She didn't like how his lantern light seemed to sink into the mist rather than brighten it. The siren's eyes narrowed. Keeper, she said softly, you're not telling them what you've lost. The lantern flame sputtered. The keeper's truth. The keeper froze, his fingers tightening around the lantern's handle. The flame inside danced violently, throwing jagged shadows across his face. What I've lost, he said at last, voice low, was my own dream. The mist around them shifted, growing darker, thicker, and then parted to show a scene suspended in the air like a memory in glass. A younger version of the keeper, without the cloak, walked through a garden lit by thousands of fireflies. A woman with hair like flowing silver light stood waiting for him, holding something in her hands. A crystal shard glowing softly, humming with the same magic Rowan had seen before. She was my dream, the keeper whispered. And the shard was her gift. But I was greedy, I used it to reshape the dream to make it last forever. In the vision, the garden's fireflies froze in mid-air. The woman's expression changed to sorrow. She stepped back, fading into the mist, the shard slipping from her hands. The dream shattered. When the shard fell into the aisles, the keeper continued, it broke into pieces. I took this lantern to guard them, hoping one day I'd have the courage to restore what I destroyed. The siren tilted her head, her voice almost gentle. And now? Do you truly mean to help them find it? The keeper hesitated. His eyes met Rowan's, and for a moment she thought she saw the man he once was, warm, hopeful, human. I will lead you, he said finally. But you must swear. If you take the shard, You will not use it for your own dream, only to mend what has been broken. The mist pulsed like a living thing. Somewhere in its depths, a sound echoed, faint at first, then clearer. The tolling of a bell. 3 chimes. The keeper's head snapped up. We have little time. Something else has found the shard's trail. From the mist behind them, a shape moved, impossibly tall, wearing a crown of crooked stars, its hands tipped with silver claws. The crown of crooked stars. The figure stepped fully from the mist, and the dream around them seemed to bend away from it. Its face was hidden beneath a hood of woven night, but the crooked crown on its head pulsed faintly, as though made of fractured constellations. Around its feet, shadows gathered, not flat like normal but alive, writhing, stretching long fingers toward Rowan and her friends. The keeper's voice was a sharp whisper. Dream hunters. The kind that steal dreams for power. This one is their leader, the Star-Crowned. The Star-Crowned's voice was like metal dragged across glass. You are far from your appointed dreams, Keeper. It turned its hooded gaze toward Rowan. And you carry a spark I have long desired. More shapes emerged from the mist, 5 in total. Each one wore a different mask, a fox, a raven, a serpent, a stag, and a faceless mirror. They moved in perfect silence, carrying dream blades made of frozen moonlight. The siren bared her teeth. Charming company you keep, she muttered to the keeper. Rowan's pulse quickened. She didn't know exactly what they wanted, the shard, her own dream, or something else entirely, but she knew one thing. Letting them get ahead would mean disaster. The keeper leaned closer, lantern light trembling. We must reach the shifting bridge before they do. It appears only once every 100 nights, and tonight is one of them. Somewhere in the mist, the tolling bell rang again, 4 times this time. The Star-Crowned raised a clawed hand and the hunters surged forward. Race to the shifting bridge. The first step was chaos. The dream under Rowan's feet rippled like water, and suddenly she and her friends were running across a sea of glass, their reflections darting below them like shadows trying to escape. Behind, the Star-Crowned and their hunters moved impossibly fast, each step sending cracks through the glass sea that healed the instant they passed. The siren leapt ahead, her hair streaming behind her like a banner. This way, she called, vaulting over a gap where the glass gave way to swirling clouds. The keeper's lantern bobbed as he ran, spilling its golden glow over the path ahead, and every time the light touched the glass, strange doors appeared in the reflections, opening into glimpses of other dreams. A forest of clocks. A castle made of paper cranes. A train riding through the stars. They didn't have time to stop. The bell tolled again, 5 chimes. The keeper's voice was tight. When the 7th chime sounds, the bridge will appear. But only for a minute. The hunters were gaining. The fox-masked one lunged, its blade cutting a ribbon of silver through the air. Rowan ducked, feeling the cold bite of the strike pass just above her head. Split. The siren shouted. The dream obeyed. The glass path fractured into 3 twisting roads, one climbing into the clouds, one sinking into a canyon of mirrors, and one spiraling downward into a whirlpool of colors. Rowan's heart pounded. Whichever path she chose could lead them closer to the bridge, or straight into the hunter's trap.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to be notified about upcoming releases to the Wyckmoore series, please subscribe.